a stockpile that was left empty by Obama Biden that he's filled up since then. He's left an infrastructure in place where COVID can be handled, and we believe that we will do so going forward in a second Trump administration.
All right.
Isn't it wonderful to allow protest? No.
I'm about to be 34 and I have no family. Because my dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yep.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is, though? It's definitely not me. I think it's everybody else.
Right. Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting, pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. So stupid. Thank you. So stupid. Thank you. Let me just tell you, I get along with everybody, which is my obligation to my company, to myself, etc. Obviously, the war in Iraq is a big, fat mistake, all right? Not good. Believe me, not good.
Get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap. Get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is. You're dying. That's true. And it is what it is.
All of a sudden we can't talk about Neanderthal DNA anymore.
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting, pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon. Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
Hello, users! Ah! Woo! Woo! Hello? Hey! Yo, I'm sorry. I've been in a little bit of a zone for the last... I know, I'm showing up to work drunk again. I've been in a little bit of a zone for the last couple days. It's been really cold lately. I've been sleeping a lot lately because it's been so goddamn cold. And I decided to wake up about 15 minutes ago. So, I'm sorry if the show's a little low energy, low budget. But, you know, sometimes it happens. Can't be perfect every single day. So what are you gonna expect? Drinking some soy-based coffee, of course. Gotta fuel those blood cells. Yeah. Hello, Witch Shunt, first user. Dev J is mysteriously absent today. Hello, Yo Soy Danny. Hello, Bob. Hello, Call Me Liam. Hello, Unknown Story. Hello, Samuel. Hello, Lilith Matthew. Hello, Kelsey Tube. Hello, Quincy Smith. Hello, James Sergeant. Hello, MTB Department. And hello, of course, Mr. Freak Glitcha. Smoking mugwort 24/7 isn't the most heat-efficient way of staying warm. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Smoking mugwort is awesome. You know, I have a light, right? And I light things up. How could that not make me warm? How could lighting things up not make me warm? You tell me that, Mr. Freak Glitcher. You tell me that. Hello, everyone. This is Above It All 1024. If I had any sort of planning at all in this show, I would be doing like a Doom 1024 map pack speedrun. But I'm not. So, that's that one chance. We'll have to wait till at some other point when a show reaches 1024 episodes, because that's not happening today. Anyway, so this is for November 18th. It is about 10:06 a.m. I'm sorry if I'm a little slow. Let me drink some more soy-based coffee. Okay, so I found a few things this morning and last night that I'm going to talk about. One of them is like a little actually like horrifying, but we'll get into that when we get into that. Some of this, I'm going to have a lot of fun mocking the President of the United States. So hopefully no one in the chat room will get triggered by the idea of me mocking the President of the United States. So we'll just move on with that. That's today's scheduled programming. So as we begin,
only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
So here we have an article from The Hill. Half of Republicans in new poll say election was rigged. Stolen from Trump. Oh my God. I'm sorry. I'm just going to play it again. I'm sorry.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
I really like half of Republicans. All right, let's read. This is coming out of The Hill. I believe this is a Reuters Ipsos poll. And they did one of these, I think a week ago, but now they're doing another one. So, roughly half of Republicans believe President Trump rightfully won the election, with 68% saying they had concerns about a rigged vote counting process in favor of President-elect Joe Biden, according to a new Reuters Ipsos opinion poll released Wednesday. Hello, Bodan in the chat room. Overall, 73% of Americans polled in the November 13th to 17th survey say they believe Biden won the election, while 5% say they thought Trump won the election. I'm guessing those are the people that never turn their TVs on, right? However, only 29% of Republicans believe that Biden had rightfully won, compared to 52% of Republicans who said about the same about Trump. The poll also reported that 55% of adults believed the 2020 election was legitimate and accurate, a 7 percentage point decrease from a similar poll released following the 2016 election. That is like a combination of like the Russia thing combined with the mail-in ballots combined. It's like this is a Democrat and Republican like goal. They have been trying to make us have less and less faith in our electoral institutions. That's what they've been trying to do, at least since 2016. Right? Now, again, there was a court case that ruled that the Democrats have every right to rig their primary process, and they did it 2 times in a row, right? So the Democrats have lost faith on that end. I don't believe that our election process was safe or secure, personally. Do I think that it was unsafe enough or unsecure enough to have Trump win? No! But I think the idea that there's voting lines, the idea that it would take 3 hours to vote in Georgia, that's not safe and that's not secure. That is voter suppression. I don't know why voter suppression is never really factored into these polls. It's, oh, do you feel like Russia hacked the election? Do you feel like Biden hacked the election? Well, what about Republicans having one polling place in all of a certain county in Texas? Just one polling place? Is that secure? Is that safe? But that's my opinion on that. Oh, Jesus, I hate these little pop-ups. On November 7th, after a days-long tally of absentee ballots across U.S. states, the Associated Press and other major news outlets officially called the race for Biden, although Trump has since refused to concede, citing unsubstantiated claims of widespread voter fraud and an attempt by Democrats to steal the election. These claims followed months of Trump's repeated allegations without evidence that voting by mail was a practice rampant with voter fraud. But again, 55%. Okay, wait. I think which number was the dangerous one? Okay. So 52% of Republicans say that Trump rightfully won the presidential election. Now, there was a poll done before that was like 3%, now this time 5%, thought that Trump already won. And that's like the QAnon kind of thing. I would say that if you're going to measure QAnon in any one of these polls, I would say, has Trump already won? That's probably the QAnon stuff, right? The idea that Trump isn't battling in the courts. I mean, obviously Trump is battling in the courts, right? So it takes one special sort of fiend in order to think that Trump already won. But again, there's two ways to read this poll. Now, in the primaries through this year, 96% of Republicans voted for Donald Trump. 4% voted for Bill Weld and Joe Walsh. You know, whoever the fuck those people are. Okay? And so, 96% of support in a party, and only half of them fall in line with your coup attempt. That's interesting. That's super interesting. Now again, 50% of Republicans, that's a hefty amount of people. That's about maybe 10 to 15% of the population. And that's a relatively significant margin. So if it turns out that amount of people actually think that Trump rightfully won the election, I mean, it's one thing to talk about this in November, but when January comes around and there's going to be an actual transition of power, I wonder what those 52% of Republicans are going to do. I wonder. I really do. I don't know what they're going to do. But it's kind of scary to think about, to be honest. But yeah, there's a new poll. Apparently more and more Republicans. It's getting more and more feasible, for Republicans at least, to buy that Trump is stealing this election. Now, they might even be on their nose and say, you know, I don't care if they're stealing it. I don't care if it's legitimate. I just want my guy in there. I wonder how much of an influence that kind of mentality weighs there. I feel like that's probably a considerable portion, if not the entirety, of that 5% who thinks Trump already won. Whatever that means. I don't know. I don't know what that means. But either way, pretty scary stuff. Definitely not looking good. Hello, Nick Wash. Hello, Mark the Hat. I'm sorry if I'm a little low energy today. I truly do apologize. I'm still drinking my coffee. I woke up about 15 minutes ago, etc. Thank you for the email, Nick Wash. I will read that and respond after the stream, but I have my emails open. Also, thank you everyone else who sends me emails. I have my emails open. I will look at them after the stream is over. Thank you very much. Onion on the hottest news in years. The lapsed fan reviewing A Cage of Death. I mean, personally, we've been waiting for this moment forever. And it's actually pretty happy that it's finally come. Hello, Dev J. What happened to your account? You never told me the story. Bodan, you sent me emails earlier. I've been really bad with responding to emails. For me, I've been doing the show in the morning and then just kind of laying in a weed coma for the next 8 hours and then falling asleep. That's been kind of my day over the last couple days. And it's also really cold this morning, and I'm just trying to stay warm. So, what are you gonna? I'm sorry, I'm being a bad YouTuber. I know. But just give me, I'm going to do some big things. I'm doing some big things in 2021. I'm doing some big things, okay? And I promise you that. In a month and a half from now, 2021 rolls around. Above It All is going to be 1 year old, right? I'm going to launch some new projects. I got it all mapped out. But I got a month and a half until 2021, right? So, yeah, I'm still in my post-election hangover. I'm still there. I'm working on it. But, you know, again, we'll get serious when the time comes. The elections, it's happened. The above it all lame duck period? Yeah, that's what we're in right now. We're in the lame duck. I don't know what to talk about, so I'm just going to smoke weed on webcam instead. Yo, it's so cold that my lighter's flame is, like, small? Are you talking to me, Bodan? I don't know who Andy is. I'm assuming you're talking to me, though, because no one responded to you, and I don't see another Andy in the chat, so I'm assuming you're talking to me. Yeah, totally legal combustibles, cannabis, you know, CBD, cannabinol, less than 0.3% THC, of course. Do I believe the elections were legitimate and accurate? I mean, it depends what you mean by that. Like, as far as being accurate in comparison to previous U.S. elections, I think that this is the most secure and legitimate election that's ever taken place in the United States of America. Like, you have to understand the lineage here. Black people couldn't vote until 1965. Women couldn't vote until 1920. Right? And we're still dealing with the ramifications of that system. So, do I think the elections are legitimate overall? No, I don't, because voter suppression is a huge problem. Look at what they do in Australia. In Australia, if you don't vote, you get a fine. In America, if you do vote, you get a fine. In America, you think, oh, I'm going to park and put, like, you know, $1 on this parking meter, go vote real quick, and come back out. 4 hours later, you have a parking ticket. Because it took so long? Yeah, I mean, voting in America is a huge fucking problem. Hello, Mark Callan. Don't drink soy milk. It's estrogenic. Soy isoflavones can bind to estrogen receptors in the body and cause the either weak estrogenic or anti-estrogenic activity. Well, I got bad news for you, Mark. I got bad news for you, Mark. I've also got even worse news for you. You see this? This is raw, distilled estrogen. Now, you might not be able to see it because, you know, the camera's a little bad. But this right here is raw estrogen in its purest form. Now, this right here, this pill, is spironolactone. No, I'm not talking about the PlayStation 1 game with the cute dragon. This is a drug that when I swallow it, kills my testosterone. It swims around my bloodstream, right? Has guns and shoots and kills all the testosterone in my body. So check this out. Hello, by the way, 5-6. You said earlier this is your first stream, I think. Not a good first stream. Yesterday was a pretty good stream. Go watch that one instead. Woo! Yo, Sega dude, I am also very cold. Oh, my back. I've been, like, sleeping pretty poorly. Ooh. Ooh. God damn. Woo! I take pills? Yes. I thought it was cool at like 13. What, physics? I mean, physics are pretty cool. Small amount of testosterone in your body, it's normal. Bodan, I know. Bodan, trust me, my medical situation is just fine without your input. I appreciate it, though. Fucking... Oh, man. How often do I buy a new bed? I got a new bed last year, but it was like a really cheap bed. It was like the cheapest one because when I moved to North Carolina, we were very strapped for cash. I would love a new bed. But I mean, I would need like, what, $500 to $1,000 to get a new bed? that would like actually be worth buying. Like, what am I gonna buy? Another really cheap bed that like feels uncomfortable after like a year and a half? Nah. Right. So that's like a long, maybe this time next year I'll have a new bed. Who knows? But that's not gonna happen. But yeah, my bed has a little springs. You know, like one of those things where like there's some springs, and sometimes I roll around and like get poked by a spring. Not good. Believe me, not good. But overall, it's fine. That's not a huge problem for me. I've been thinking actually of just getting like a pillow top, like one of those things that you kind of like just spread over the mattress. I've been looking for those. Those are like maybe $100, and you can get just like kind of like a small, thin, like kind of mattress topper. I was thinking about doing one of those actually. That would be a really nice short-term fix that would like last me for presumably like a couple years. That would solve the spring problem. And that would basically solve every problem, to my understanding. So I might do that. You'll hate it because they slide around the toppers. Can't you like do them with the sheets? The ones that I've seen, you can kind of like tuck them in. We'll see. I don't know. I'll browse. Anyway, this is a political podcast. Here I am talking about mattress toppers. What the fuck? Reminder, by the way, if you want to listen to the audio of this show, every single day, I post the episodes on anchor.fm/above-it-all. So anchor.fm/ right? You get that slash in there, above it all. If you want to listen to the audio versions of these podcasts, and if you listen to them on Anchor, Spotify, what else are they on? There's like a little thing I can look at it. They're on Spotify, right? It's on Breaker, whatever the fuck that is. It's on Google. It's on Pocket Casts. Whatever. I don't know what the fuck this bullshit is. You think I know what this is? You think I know what Radio Public is? I don't. But my podcast is on Radio Public. So if you want to listen to Above It All on Radio Public, feel free to do so. Whenever you do so, I do get paid for the listens. So that's cool. Hello, Endless Cemetery. Didn't you just like join my Discord server yesterday? Yeah, what happened to my Discord server last night, by the way? Does anyone know? Like, whoa. Imagine like you're going to like do some epic raid on people and you show up at 3 a.m. Damn. It's actually really funny because I think I know who that is. Some dude. Like, okay, here's a little story time. Some dude, like, kept spamming my YouTube comments with my old address. And, like, describing the house I used to live in multiple years ago. And thinking that they were clever. It's like, yeah, you've got a tree with, like, a split branch in front of you. And it's like, dude, first of all, if you're like trying to scare me, like, you should know this by now. I've already been swatted. So you describing the house that I theoretically live in, like, you should know at this point, having been swatted, that that's not going to do it for me. Right? So I just block them on YouTube, and so I'm guessing that that's them. Because according to what people told me, they were spamming an address, and I don't know what the address was. I didn't actually see the address, but if they were spamming it, it was probably the old address that I used to live in. And if they want to swat the old address I used to live in, they can feel free. And it won't affect me. And they'll probably be sent to jail. So that's like a win-win-win as far as I'm concerned. But again, these people are not bright. They're not smart. They're not intelligent. And again, you'd think, okay, I'm going to swat this tranny on YouTube. I'm going to ruin the tranny's life. I'm going to swat them, undox them. Well, you should probably know that the tranny moved a year ago. Like, you know, like, you should, like, if you really hate the tranny so much, you should probably know that that tranny doesn't live in that house anymore. But, you know, whatever. I thought swatting was a left thing. Z50, how dumb are you? Jesus Christ. Like, I know Trumpers are stupid, but god damn. I got doxxed one time and they were just spamming the address of the house that burned down. Yeah, I know exactly. That's the thing. It's like these guys are like, I'm gonna scare the tranny. and I'm going to post the address. I'm going to describe. Like, this guy was like, you have a window cutting into the roof. I will look at you through that window. And it's like, dude, first of all, I don't live there anymore. Second of all, you need to take writing classes. Third of all, you need to take therapy. Fourth of all, holy shit. Right? Like, that was what was going through my mind. And then I just, like, blocked them because they were spamming on my fucking YouTube videos. And then I wake up in the middle of the night and I check my phone because I want to know what time it is. And I get like 15 messages from people say that people are posting an address in my Discord server. So I thought that was pretty funny. I didn't really read any of it, but pretty good stuff. If you'd like to pay me a friendly visit, I'll tell you what town I live in and we can meet in public. Hello, Dougie Foucault. Trump won. Yo, we got everyone alert. Everyone alert. The Daily Dollar. Hello, Dougie. Welcome to the stream. The Daily Dollar. All right. I've been a little bit off topic for a little bit here. Let's move on with what we've got on the programming for today's broadcast. So, this is Kayleigh McEnany. I'm going to call her McEnany. Kayleigh McEnany. That's her new name. So she's saying that there's going to be a smooth transition to a second Trump administration, echoing what Mike Pompeo said. Let's watch. This is this morning, actually. This is something I saw in my 5 minutes of show prep.
A stockpile that was left empty by Obama Biden that he's filled up since then. He's left an infrastructure in place where COVID can be handled, and we believe that we will do so going forward in a second Trump administration.
All right, and
again, the poll I just cited, what, 52% of Republicans think that Trump won, right? That's interesting. That's certainly, like, there's a lot of interesting things going on here in the Trump world. And again, this is like, and I want this to be explicit. I want this to oh my God, Dougie Foucault. I'm Canadian. We've had election trouble with Dominion voting machines. Oh, you're Canadian and you've had election trouble with Dominion voting systems. Dougie in the chat, really? Well, it sucks for you. That also that I wanted to talk about was the Elections Canada Twitter page saying that they don't use Dominion voting systems. Elections Canada does not use Dominion voting systems. We use paper ballots counted by hand. So you're telling me, Dougie, in the chat room, you're Canadian and you use Dominion voting machines? How come your official government is saying that they don't use Dominion voting machines? Really interesting. It's possible that they do and that Elections Canada is lying, but hey, it's possible. It's possible. But either way, again, I'll talk about that in a second here. But the idea that the Trump administration is doing this whole we're moving on with a second term, they're like doing like, you know, restructuring at the Pentagon, they're doing a restructuring of the Defense Department. They're doing all this bullshit, right? It really, like, this is a moment in history. We have never had this happen before. And so there's a lot of electorally skeptical people, and I'm electorally skeptical myself, that criticize me from the left, saying, hey, you should focus more on this and that and, you know, fuck the election stuff. Now, I agree I should focus more on that. But at the same time, I think the idea that there is a presidential administration that is pretending that they did not lose, and it's now almost been 3 weeks. Has it been 3 weeks? How long ago was the election? It's been like, yeah, it's been like over 2 weeks. Okay, so it's been like 2 weeks and then like 1 day. So it's been like over 2 weeks and they still haven't, they don't believe in the idea that they've lost an election. They don't believe in that an election's even taken place. Right? They think that this is like some fraudulent, like, kind of like movie narrative. It's bizarre. It's super duper strange, right? And I think that this is a very important moment in human history. Now, I could just be up my own asshole, right? It's totally possible. But one thing I really like doing, and one of the main things I like doing with my YouTube show, and with all of my experience going to protests, right? Like, one of the main things that made me start going to protests and becoming a protester and becoming more politically involved was, like, there are these people, right, like the right-wingers, that are just batshit fucking Looney Tunes. Like, they're batshit fucking Looney Tunes. Like, the more and more I realized how crazy right-wingers were, like, the more and more I got interested in how the fuck they became what they became, right? Like, the idea that you can see all the information that we see right now and think that Trump is the president, like, again, I want to study that. I want to isolate that, and I want to figure out how these conspiracy theories work. That's been kind of my little thing here. Like, that's my little thing, is that I just want to know what the hell's going on. And you can say maybe it's ineffective, you can say maybe it's a waste of time, and those are all probably true. But I just want to say, again, that I think this is going to be something we need to deal with over the next couple of years, is we're going to have to figure out how to deprogram some of these people. Now, do I think that all these full-on QAnoners can be converted to normal people? Not really. I know that there's a certain percentage of them that are too far gone, and I'm fully aware of that. But I think we need to try our best to deprogram as many of these people as we can. And that's something that I'm super interested in. That's something that I'm thinking I'm the most interested in. I want to see how these people act over the next, 2 years. How they're going to act. Like, are they still going to be in favor of the cops? Is Blue Lives Matter still going to be a thing? In a year from now, in 2 years from now? I wonder. I really do. I really wonder. I don't know. I'm not sure. If Trump runs again, that's probably just going to take up all of that shit and keep it going, pumping it with fucking medications on life support for another 4 years. Right? But if Trump doesn't run again, there's going to need to be some sort of autopsy going on. Now, I personally think Trump's going to run again, and we're going to have this conversation another 5 years from now. But, or God forbid, 9 years from now. But, God forbid, 13 years from now. But, I think it's certainly something worth thinking about. How the hell did these people become this way? I don't know, and I would like to know. And that's been something of a heavy interest in mine. So, I'm just throwing that out there. But yeah, we got some dumb motherfuckers in the chat room right now. It looks like just 2 dumb motherfuckers, Z50 and Dougie. I mean, if you're gonna make a YouTube channel and you're gonna call yourself, yes, I want to be known to the world as Dougie, chances are your brain is not running at full cylinders, but, you know, whatever. So, Dougie Foucault, you think Justin Trudeau is a leftist? Yo, Canada has a literal left-wing party. Like, if you're saying liberalism and leftism are identical, and you live in Canada, a country with an actual leftist party, I mean, Jesus Christ. What? Like, you have the Liberals, and then you've got, what is it, like the NDP or some shit? Like, you have a literal leftist party in Canada, and you're still stuck on the idea that liberals are leftists? Yeah, the New Democratic Party. You have a literal leftist party! Like, at least in America, we've got, a liberal right-wing party and a conservative right-wing party. In Canada, you've got 3 parties. And one of them is a literal leftist communist party. And yet you're still calling the liberal one the communists? What? Jesus Christ, man. These people, again, they have no brain cells. They've got no fucking brain cells. You think blackface Justin Trudeau is a communist? Blackface Justin Trudeau is a communist? Do you know what Justin Trudeau does to the indigenous populations of Canada? You think a communist would massacre indigenous people? Like, how dumb are you, dude? Holy shit.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ. Dumb people, liberal people.
I just... God damn it, dude. I really...
So stupid, so stupid. Thank you, thank you.
Dude, I know more about Canadian politics than you do, Dougie. You're clearly the one that knows nothing. I know that there is a Liberal Party, a Conservative Party, and a New Democratic Party, which is a left party. You're saying that Justin Trudeau is a communist. Like, what? You don't even understand English. Now, again, I just want to say this. I want to talk about myself. I made a video about this subject, and I really want you to watch this. This is one of those videos that I'm like, I really want to circulate more. It's kind of like one of my thesis videos, you know? I made a video on the idea and the concept that Republicans and right-wingers don't live in the same reality that we live in. And I tied that into language. So I think that's something worth watching if you want to hear this topic. A little bit more talked about in depth. But yeah, these people, like, when they say communist is anyone to the left of Adolf Hitler. Right, like, that's a communist. Hillary Clinton, a communist. Right, like conservatives that, like, don't agree with the 100% conservative platform are communists. Everyone that they disagree with is a communist. So that's why, even though they do have communists in government, they're just going to call everyone communist. Like, here in America, we've got Bernie Sanders, and you could call him a communist if you really wanted to. I wouldn't necessarily dispute that label. Like, I could if I really wanted to, but I mean, honestly, it's a waste of time. But it would be like, okay, so we have Bernie Sanders as a literal communist in government. Now let's talk about how Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer are communists. It's like, what? Dude, there's a communist right there. There's a communist right fucking there. And that's the thing and that's even more prevalent in Canada, because you've got the New Democratic Party, which is a literal leftist party. If you want to, like, throw communism out there, you've got a whole party that's communist, and yet you're going to call it the liberals communists? It's just like, the brain doesn't work. The brain just literally doesn't work for these people. But again, it's not that their brain, I guess, is weaker or anything. It's just that they've been fed misinformation. They live in a different world. They don't live in the real world. They don't live on Earth in the year 2020. Right, at 10:38 a.m. They don't live there. They live in Trump land. Even if they live in Canada, they live in right-wing dictatorship version of the world that they live in. When they look at the government, they don't see capitalist parties working together to fuck the working class. They see, somehow, and I know, right, they literally see communists that are trying to kill the white man, and that's why the Prime Minister of Canada wore blackface. Because he's trying to kill the white man. And that's why the Prime Minister of Canada is massacring indigenous populations. Because he's trying to kill... And the way you kill the white man is by killing indigenous people? Wait. But again, doesn't matter. They don't think about that. Because they don't know that Justin Trudeau wore blackface. They don't know that Justin Trudeau massacres indigenous populations. They don't know that because it doesn't fit their narrative. It doesn't feed into their worldview. And if they hear me say this, it's going to go one ear, out the other. Because it doesn't matter. It's not convenient for them. And anything that's not convenient has to be disregarded. And now they have no more argument, and it's just Dougie is going to spam, is this a soy boy? He, soy boy? Because they've got no more argument. Right? So instead of listening to me describe Canadian politics better than them, a resident of Canada, I, in North Carolina, know more about Canadian politics than a literal Canadian, right? Instead of acknowledging any of that, they're just going to talk about soy. Like, yeah, I'm drinking soy right now. You see this in this cup? This is soy. Are you triggered? Fucking dullard. Fucking dullard. Fucking dullard. Jesus Christ. Again, I want to study this field. I really do. Because, like, I feel like Dougie and I could be friends. Why does Dougie hate me so much? Like, Dougie, I've never met Dougie before, and they come into my chat room saying I'm evil, right? Mocking me, harassing me, attacking me, spamming my chat room. We've never met before. I did not know that Dougie was even alive. I had never heard of the concept of Dougie in this chat room. And immediately, they come into my chat room, brandishing hatred. What causes that? What, like, programming in the brain needs to be crossed over for someone to just be such a hateful piece of garbage? I really don't. I don't know, and I would love to know. I would love to figure it out. But I don't know if we ever will figure it out. But that's something I want to study. I really do want to study that because I find it of profound interest. So the Pennsylvania Supreme Court decided that Trump can go F himself. Alright, so this is from CNN. I know, fake news, right? Okay. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court on Tuesday ruled 5-2 that a Trump campaign ballot processing observer in Philadelphia had no right to stand any particular distance away from election workers, and it's up to counties to decide where poll watchers can stand. Now, I just want to say this. I was a poll watcher during the primaries. In South Carolina, when I was working with the Bernie Sanders campaign, I was being a poll watcher. So I know how to be a poll observer. I have experience with this, alright? Believe it or not. This shitty little dumb fucking bitch sitting in her bedroom making YouTube videos knows what it's like being a poll observer. Right? So, and I know the mentality of the Trump people. I've seen the videos of the Trump people. When these people claim that they're poll observers, what they really mean is they want to get as close as possible to the election counters and scream, be annoying, and just be a nuisance. Now, when I was a poll worker or watcher, what I did was I sat in an auditorium seat and I just watched them. Right? And every now and then I would ask a question and the nice old lady would answer the question. It was really nice, very informative. That's what I did when I was a poll observer. Now, we've seen all these videos of the Trumpers trying to break into the fucking places, trying to, like, beat the shit out of people and try to stop the count. Those are not poll observers. Those are rioters. That's what that is. If you go to a polling place with a MAGA hat on and scream, Trump 2020, count the vote, count, stop the steal, you are not a poll observer. You are a rioter. So that needs to be understood. It's a significant loss for President Donald Trump's campaign at a moment in which the legal strategy to block President-elect Joe Biden's win and undermine the election results is crumbling and entering its final throes. The state's high court ruling overturns an earlier decision that the Trump campaign had called a major win, even while it affected no actual votes in Pennsylvania. But that small win has propelled the Trump campaign in recent days to argue that the vote counts across the state have been unfair and prompted them to push suspicions of fraud. Now again, why doesn't Donald Trump just want to do another election? The election was fraudulent. All right. Only 50% of Republicans think that you won, Donald Trump. I know people in my family that voted for Donald Trump just 2 weeks ago, and they now are sick of him because he keeps lying about the election. If there was another election, Trump would lose by even greater of a margin, and that's why they don't want to do a new election. Keep that in mind. They could. Wouldn't that be interesting? Donald Trump calling for a new democracy, starting the first snap election in the United States history. Wouldn't that be interesting? Donald Trump being pro-democracy? Let's have the entire country decide. Right? Let's fix all the problems, do another election next week, and let's let the country decide. Are you the actual next president? But somehow, again, I have a feeling Donald Trump's not going to advocate for that. The campaign's latest loss in court comes amid a break in a hearing where Trump's personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, is arguing to a federal judge there could have been widespread fraud in absentee voting in the Keystone State. That hearing, the arguments that began this afternoon in Williamsport, is on a break because of an audio phone line that allowed public access to the hearing went down. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court spelled out how Trump's campaign observer, Jeremy Mercer, was able to do everything he was allowed under the law when he was observing the absentee ballot processing in Philadelphia. The factual record undercuts core claims the Trump campaign is still trying to make in court. So again, you can read the rest of this article if you want. I'm not going to. But it's really interesting that Donald Trump's campaign, they're failing and floundering at every single step. Like, imagine a staircase, right? Like a flight of stairs in an office building. Now imagine you slip down one stair and you fall down to the bottom of that staircase. And then you get up, you pat yourself off. Damn, I hurt my hip a little bit. And you do that little bend around. And then you start walking down the next staircase. Again, you're in an office building. Say you're on floor 7, right? And then you start slipping down the next flight of stairs. Ah, no! I scraped my knee that time. You get up, you dust yourself off, right? And then you go like, all right, maybe this time, I don't need to use the elevator. So you start walking down the next flight of stairs. Oh, no! You start tumbling. This time you land on your shoulder. Ow! Ow! Well, maybe I should stop walking down the stairs, you think to yourself. No. No. Don't worry. I got it this time. You walk down the next step. You go tumbling down, you snap your neck, and you die. That's the Trump campaign. They're mid-tumble on that last step. And I'm sorry, but the Trump campaign is going to snap its neck and die soon. In fact, I would like to say it already has. But that's just, my opinion on that subject. But, Whew. Dude, these people in the chat room, like Dougie, why are you so confused? 1 minute you're calling me she, the next minute you're calling me he. Why are you so confused? Do you need medical attention, Dougie, in the chat room? You're 34 years old and you can't even stick to a single pronoun? That's a little ridiculous. Jeez. Like that, wow. You can't tell what I am? That sounds like a personal problem. You seem to be confused about gender, Dougie. Why are you so confused about gender? Do you want to talk to a therapist about it? Do you need a friend to talk to, Dougie? Are you okay? Is someone abusing you? If you need help, I'm here, Dougie. If you need help, I'm here. Don't worry. Okay, I need to smoke more weed for this one. Dougie is 34, can't use words properly, and doesn't even know about politics in his own country. Sad. Sad.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
That's Dougie. Where can you get cheap soy milk? Soy milk is only like $2 for a carton. Like, what do you like? This, I don't know, man. Like, the idea that right-wingers, like, this guy is 34 years old, right? 34 years old, and they're afraid of vegetables. Like, that's nuts. 34 years old, and the guy's afraid of vegetables. Like, jeez. Jeez, man. Jeez. Like, I can imagine being like 7 years old and being afraid of vegetables, right? You know, you just want to eat that mac and cheese. You don't want to eat the peas. But this guy is 34 years of age, and they're spamming a YouTube chat about how afraid of vegetables that they are. Like, and I know, right? Like, I know it's just like this guy's pathetic, but I really, and maybe this is just me being too much of an analytical person, right? But it's like, I look at that, 34 years of age, something had to go wrong in their life, where they're spending an hour of their life, an hour, talking in a YouTube chat room about how much they're afraid of vegetables. Like, what has to... Like, what, like, did your parents not feed you correctly? Like, what is going on here, Dougie? Where you are spamming a YouTube chat room about how vegetables are evil and they're going to kill everyone? It's so weird. It's weird as hell. It's bizarre. It's bizarre. I'm glad you're not praising Biden. I don't like Biden. What? I am no pretty sight. Oh my god, Mr. Freak, stop it. This whole thing is just, it's shocking to me. 34 years old, and they're spamming a YouTube chat room about how scared of vegetables that they are. Reminder, this is soup for my family. This is soup for my family. Maybe Dougie got hit in the head with a can of vegetable soup. That's why they like Trump, and that's why they're afraid of vegetables. This is soup for my family, they say. One time, I chewed on a green bean, and one of the beans inside was a little rotten. I'll never eat veggies again. My testosterone can't handle it. If I eat just one vegetable, my testosterone will all come falling apart. It's really bizarre stuff. Yo, my mouth is itchy. Hello, Jervas. What's up? I have one more story I'm going to talk about today. So, thank you for dealing with me. My shirt says, I just want to hang with my dog. Very comfy shirt. I've just been wearing heavy clothes every day because it's super cold. I got my sweater on. This is a new sweater I got. This is actually like the first time I've actually had the sweater on for more than 30 seconds. A 34-year-old acting like a middle school bully is so pathetic. Like, yeah, imagine you're at the lunch table, and instead of like the 12-year-old coming up, by the way, the guy calls himself Dougie, so he literally is like a middle schooler. So like some guy comes up to your lunch table. Is that soy that you're eating? Did you know that soy is super bad for you? I read it on 4chan like 7 years ago. And then they hit the ground screaming because I had a heart attack because of all the meat that they ate. Eat your veggies, kids. Meat is not good for you. Anyway, so let's move on. So this is something I saw a couple days ago, and I'm sorry for the sniffle, right? This is something I saw not a couple days ago. Actually, I saw this yesterday. This is someone who's been documented as a follower of the QAnon Conspiracy, and she has committed murder. So this is certainly interesting. Now, I don't know enough about the situation here to say whether or not this murder was based around the QAnon Conspiracy, or if this person that, you know, coincidentally believed in the QAnon conspiracies also was someone who was willing to murder someone. I'm not sure if there's a direct connection, but to my understanding, there might be. So, let's read. I've got some tweets here, and I've got some news articles. So, there was an Amber Alert in March of 2020. This woman here stole those children, and now this page is not working. Hold up. And now, a couple days ago, this same woman, as you can see, Neely Petrie Blanchard, has been arrested for murder. So, and as you can see, it's the same person here. And I believe the name, yes, Neely, right here. Neely somewhere. But as you can see, yeah, this has been something that's happened multiple times, where you've got these people that believe in, like, the Trumpista QAnon stuff, and then all of a sudden they think that, like, people are going to steal their children, because this is one of those things, right? The big thing about QAnon, and I had someone in my family that was knee-deep in QAnon conspiracy theories, like, sharing Save the Children posts on Facebook every day. She was knee-deep, waist-deep in QAnon conspiracy theories. So I know a little bit more than I should about this kind of stuff. Right, so you see these people and they're reading on Facebook every day that the liberals are going to steal their children and eat them in their Democrat cabal underneath Comet Ping Pong Pizza Place, right? And so they get really afraid, right? And they just want to save the children. And so this is something that happened in March. Now, again, who knows what is going on here? More details will come out. But I'm just going to read this article. This article is from 2 days ago. Right? An Ocala man was gunned down Sunday night at a residence in Marion Oaks. Marion County Sheriff deputies responded to a home in the 16,000th block of Southwest 34th Court Road around 9 p.m. after receiving a call about shots fired in a residence. When they arrived, they found a shooting victim who later was identified as 50-year-old Christopher Hallett, report says. The suspect, 33-year-old Neely Petrie Blanchard, was arrested in Lowndes County, Georgia. She was being held Monday night on no bond. The case remains under investigation by Major Crimes Unit. Now, this is in Georgia, coincidentally, the same state where you have Marjorie Taylor Greene become a congresswoman-elect. She is an open promoter of the QAnon conspiracy theories. Her Twitter page has gotten those little, like, you know, exclamation point election fraud things more often than I think anyone else. And, yeah, so, like, this is just something really bad. This is something really bad. And, QAnon is very dangerous. This isn't the first time someone related to the QAnon conspiracy network has killed people. And it certainly won't be the last, right? But you see this myth out there that, like, leftists are so evil. Leftists are so violent. Antifa's going outside and killing people. Yet, it's always the other way around. It's always the other way around. Whenever you see a story of someone connected to a political agenda murdering someone, 9 times out of 10, it's a right-wing political agenda. And maybe that murder wasn't, you know, because of a political agenda, but it's not a far cry from believing that Democrats are stealing your children and using their souls to harvest, like, some demon farm and shooting someone. Like, those are not too far detached from one another. And so I just want to say, if you know someone that's into the QAnon stuff, try to get them out of it as soon as possible. Because if you don't, you never know what could happen. A couple years after being in these right-wing networks, it does a lot of damage on people. It really does. And this is why I'm so interested in trying to figure out how to deprogram, like, right-wing cults, because that's what QAnon is. That's what Trump is. It's a cult. And once people, like, dedicate their personal identity, like, yes, my personal identity is intertwined with Donald Trump's campaign. Once you do that, like, then you get to these people who think, oh, an attack on Trump is an attack on me. They get super defensive. Oh, they're trying to steal my children. The Democrats are going to feed my children to devils that are hiding underground. Once you get to that point where you genuinely believe that stuff, you're convinced that devils are going to steal your children's souls. I mean, at that point, killing someone, I mean, that's not even that far-fetched. And that's what's so horrifying about the society that we live in. And I hope to God that we can find a way to stop that shit. But I'm not convinced we will. I'm not convinced we will. But yeah, that's basically my show for today. Hopefully y'all enjoyed. I know, low energy, right? Right, I know, this is low energy stuff. But, tomorrow, I promise, I'll have a more in-depth show. We'll do a little bit more stuff. I'll be a little less tired. I've just been having a bizarre sleep schedule, so bear with me. But thank you for watching this episode. Again, if you want to support this program, you can like the stream. right? How many likes does this YouTube broadcast have? If it doesn't have 30, I'm going to be pissed. 6. It has 6. Okay, now it says it's 10. YouTube, make up your mind. If you don't like this stream, I'm going to cry. I will literally turn the stream off and cry if you don't like this stream. Also, again, you can listen to the audio of this stream on Anchor. So, if you want to do that, that's also a thing. You can give me money on patreon.com/cyberdemon531. Give me money on Patreon if you want to support the program. I also have a PayPal. PayPal.me/Andrea the Dougie is my PayPal. You can send me money on PayPal if you so choose. That's probably the most efficient way to give me money, because I get most of the percentage from that. But, you know, don't necessarily feel like you have to do that or whatever. Though you should feel that you have to do that. And if you don't do that, I will judge you. But yeah. Hello, Anna Aurora. It's very hard to deprogram a cult member. I know. But I just, like, I want to kind of figure out, like, you really need to, like, kind of figure out what it is that went wrong. Like, what kernel in their brain broke. Like, to the point where they believe that Chuck Schumer is a devil in disguise trying to harvest the souls of children. Like how, like, what's, like, there's a leap there, and I'm trying to figure out that leap. And if anyone has books to read or shows to listen to or watch or whatever that could shed light on that, feel free to recommend them. But yeah, so we'll see how it goes. But everyone, thank you for watching this episode of Above It All, and I'll see y'all tomorrow.
Running against the worst candidate in the history of presidential politics puts pressure on me. Could you imagine if I lose my whole life? What am I going to do? I'm going to say, I lost to the worst candidate in the history of politics. I'm not going to feel so good. Maybe I'll have to leave the country. I don't know.
Only the really, I hate to say this, but those with the lowest IQ.
And he's like this, and we will, I need water, help me, I need water, help. And this is on live television.
I'm about to be 34 and I have no family. Because my dad had 2 kids by the time he was 27.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, you know what the problem is, though? It's definitely not me.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's everybody else.
Well, you have to understand, the first time I ever heard of Black Lives Matter, they were chanting, pigs in a blanket, talking about police. Pigs, talking about our police. Pigs in a blanket, fry them like bacon.
The battle of righteousness versus Satan. Yes, Satan. Because these leftists are evil.
The good news is, for me, I'm here. The bad news for you is, I'm coming back.
Get back in the business of creating a more peaceful world. Please clap.
As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. All people. I think I have great relationships. All people. I think all people. All people. All people. I think I have great. I am the least racist person in this room.
Well, it was an amazing phone call I made. 40 Wall Street actually was the second tallest building in downtown Manhattan. And it was actually, before the World Trade Center, was the tallest. And then when they built the World Trade Center, it became known as the second tallest, and now it's the tallest. And I just spoke to my people.